Hello, everybody, and thank you for listening to Retold, the podcast where I retell you my favorite stories of all time. Today, we're retelling Frieren.
Yay, new episodes.
New episodes! If you're new here, this is typically my Harry Potter podcast. Wonderful, incredible Harry Potter podcast. You should check it out. But my wife and I, we like a whole bunch of different stories, not just Harry Potter. So while Harry Potter may be like my number one favorite story, there's still other stories I like to talk about. And I love podcasts that retell what happens in TVs, movies, books, because as a listener, it's like you get to relive it and experience it in a new way. So my wife and I, we are covering the animated show Frieren. It's Japanese anime, really good show. It's one of my favorites ever. I hope you guys are watching it too, but we've already done 2 episodes where we covered all of season 1, just kind of recapping it, kind of in preparation for season 2. Frieren is a wonderful fantasy show so it's in keeping with the fantasy vibes of this podcast. But starting now, we're going to be releasing 2 episodes, or we're going to be releasing an episode every other week, hopefully, where we will recap what happens in every 2 episodes of Frieren. There's going to be 10 episodes in this season, so there'll be 5 more episodes of this, including this one. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to be talking about the first 2 episodes of season 2 of Frieren, and then we'll have just a few little bonus segments at the end. But before we get to that, Bailey, this is, at this point, we're parents now.
That's right.
We're having a lot of difficulties recording because, 1, I'm very scatterbrained, and 2, we have our sleeping baby next to us. We're actually recording in our bed.
Yeah.
We have a nice little setup. Normally I'm at my computer, but this is just much easier. So if you hear a little baby cooing in the background, she is attempting to sleep in her bassinet, but
she hates it.
She does hate it. She'd much rather we hold her.
Yeah.
But she's got to learn. Anyway, one thing I want to do is open up some of these episodes with a dad joke. So one of our friends gave us this book.
Gave us this book?
Gave me this book.
Okay.
And it's a book called Dad Jokes for New Dads. And so, I thought that'd be a fun way to open up. So your dad joke for today, listeners. I just randomly opened it up. We're both hearing this joke for the first time.
Oh boy.
What's Michelle Obama's favorite vegetable?
Probably the one that she forced all those poor K through 12 kids to eat. I don't know what.
Broccoli.
Wow, I probably actually could have guessed that if I thought about it.
I know. Let's flip to another random page. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Why did the tree need to take a nap?
Why?
For rest. Oh, that's good. I do like that. There's your fun dad jokes for today. All right. But let's get to our Frieren season 2 coverage. We'll be covering episodes 1 and 2, but because it's the beginning of the season, we got a few things to mention. So Frieren Beyond Journey's End, written by Kanehito Yamada and illustrated by Tsukasa Abe. And this is episodes 1 and 2. The opening for this season, really good. Really, really good. The song is by Lulu. Sorry, the song is by Miss Green Apple, and they do a lot of the...
Yeah, we love that band, actually. We have a playlist that we listen to all the time that's just a bunch of anime openings and closings.
Yeah.
And some other shows that they've done, I think Fire Force?
Yeah, they've done the Fire Force one.
Yeah.
They might have done oh no, that was Pelican Fan Club. I was thinking that maybe they did the Dr. Stone one. Oh. But they've done a bunch of different animes, and we really enjoy their music. But the song's called Lulu, and it's really good. I have some of the lyrics pulled up here. And it's very similar vibe to what the show is, what Frieren is. When the end comes, what should I say? Look, whatever comes, so that I won't feel sad. Your words from some time ago. It stings badly. It remains warm. If only I knew. That's all I needed. I see myself looking for something. It's okay. I'm not going anywhere. I can't go anywhere. I won't forget, but for some reason it becomes distant. You are always behind my eyes. It's still the same now. And then it, keeps going through. There's some happier lines too. There's a place I want to go back to. Everyone is a descendant of this planet. That promise treasured in me. It remains warm. So
yeah, I'd say I like it musically a lot better than the first season's opening.
Yes.
It feels like the vibe of it is a lot more in line with the vibe of the show, where the first season's opening was a little too poppy, I think.
it kind of flipped for me in that last season, don't get me wrong, I liked both the intro and opening. And in this season, so far, I like both the intro and opening. But I liked the, intro and opening. I mean, intro and outro.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked the outro of last season better than the intro. And this time it's kind of flipped. I still like the outro, and we'll talk about it in a second, but I really like this intro. And then there's, I think the animation that's going on in it is we get there's a whole lot of blue, and you see Frieren holding blue flower petals, which is kind of representative of her relationship with Himmel.
And her relationship with humans in general, because it's also connected to her master.
Mm-hmm.
But,
the spell that Flamma taught her. And then at the end of the intro, did you catch it? The two flower petals that I think she's holding or that fall in front of her are a red and purple one.
Oh, like Fern and Stark.
Yeah, that's very cute.
I didn't catch that.
You get a whole bunch of different transition scenes of Frieren's old party walking. I love the still shot of them standing before the Demon King's castle, or before his throne, I think. It's sick. Love it. I can't wait to see that fight one day.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then it transitions to her with her new party, and we see some new faces that we're going to meet this season. So that's the intro. The outro, it's by Miley, the woman who sang the outro for last season.
Yeah.
And again, I said don't get confused. I still love this outro. It's beautiful, very well done. Some of the lyrics, so don't you worry. And the name of it is The Story of Us. But some of the lyrics, so don't you worry, without you knowing, I wish to protect you. The story has only just begun. A road with no goal, even if you are standing on such road with no path, even if you are lost and unsure, I wish there is hope next to you. Oh, and still just...
Yeah, I will say too, part of the reason why, at least for me, the first season's outro hit so hard was because of how there were two of them from the same song. So I feel like for this season, since it's not going to have that, it's kind of already at kind of a disadvantage as far as the cool factor, because that was so creative of them to do. But I can't really tell yet which one I'll prefer. I can already say the animation style.
So let's get to that.
Yeah,
because that's what I wanted to mention too. I still have a very strong fondness for the outro for the second half of season 1. That claymation was so cool.
Yes.
Or whatever it was.
The colors.
But this time they did not disappoint at all with the outro animation. It's all done in colored pencil.
Yeah.
The whole thing is in colored pencil.
Hand drawn and hand animated.
It's beautiful. It's so creative. It's so good. I love it so freaking much.
Yeah. They just flex on the haters when they do that.
Yeah. And last thing before we get started with the recap, Frieren is animated by Madhouse. So there you go.
Yup.
And they do a lot of the shows that we liked as well. Trying to remember. I know they did season 1 of
One Punch
Man. The best one.
Yeah. The only one.
I can't recall any others right now, but they do a lot.
I will say, though, that the way that they animate Frieren, or I guess the team of people that they have working on Frieren, it's their best product as far as what I've seen, compared to even the others. So, and
there is a slight change in animation this time around. The lines are a lot thinner in the episode, when you see the characters moving around, so that I don't know, I guess it makes it a little more fluid.
It's pretty subtle. I don't think that I would have noticed if you hadn't said that. To me, the thing that sticks out about the animation is the color palette. And then I haven't really noticed it so far this season, but in the first season, there's this subtle grain over the animation that just makes it feel almost vintage. And then the line work, also, again, haven't really noticed it for the season yet, but sometimes they would put a contrasting color underneath the line, a really subtle neon green or teal or something that adds a lot of dynamism. I'll try to keep an eye out and see if they still do that, because if they don't, then I'll be sad, because it was cool.
And the other thing to mention about the outro, what's going on in it? You have Himmel writing at a desk, young Himmel. He's just at his desk writing away. And then it also, it flips back and forth between that and Frieren traveling by herself. She does her spell to make a field of flowers at the end of it. There is a scene, like for the most part, she's by herself, but there is a scene where she's like in a like little village with a bunch of kind of angel-like women spinning around
dancing
her.
around her.
Yeah. And then at the end, she flies away as a bird.
Mm-hmm. I think that throughout the whole thing, there's like a feather motif. I'm not really sure what it signifies yet. But...
Flowers and feathers.
Yep.
And Frieren. Yay. All right, listeners. So this is what you can expect this episode. We will recap what happens in episodes 1 and 2. And at the end of each episode, we will have a few bonus segments, kind of like I do in my Harry Potter coverage. And in those bonus segments, we will talk about, one, what we think the lesson of the episode is. Mm-hmm. Because this show, every episode has like a moral. And I love it. I love it. Love when shows do that. And then manga differences. So talking about things that it changed from the source material. And then the last one being our favorite lines or moments. So without further ado, episode 1 of season 2, shall we go then? Also music by Evan Call this whole season. Fantastic.
Yes. Already noticed some new tracks.
Yeah.
Love them.
So our heroes have just departed from Oysterst. And my first note, Evan Call doing his thing from the beginning. I loved the music. So good. They're running low on cash and Fern says they need some work. There's a line, I really like this. The cart man, he says that the journey to Ende sounds unimaginably long. And we know that having gone through season 1, Ende is technically like heaven. Mm-hmm. And Frieren just goes, it sure does. It's 29 years after the death of Himmel, the hero, in the Somme marshes located in the northern lands. Stark is fishing and he just catches a little baby fish. Fern is chopping up veggies and she's not too thrilled by his catch. You know, he walks up to her and he's like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, fine, you'll do better next time. They note that Frieren is up early. And I love this moment where Stark looks at her and goes, wow. Like looks at Fern and goes, wow, did you praise her? And Fern is smiling. She goes,
of
sure.
Course.
Yeah. And this was different in that we're watching this time in the Japanese voices. We usually, with Frieren, before we did the English dub. So that is a bit of a change. I think this is true just about every time you do this, but I don't like it as much. It's not a problem at all.
Sure. But the dub is really good and we got used to those voices. Yeah. So.
And I like the character of Stark a lot more in the dub. Now, again, nothing against the Japanese voice actor, but the Japanese voice actor makes him sound, he has like a bit of a nerdy quality to his voice. Whereas the English dub, that actor sounds more boyish and
like he can sound a little geeky, but
but there's I don't know, there's something more charming I feel like about it. And then Frieren sounds much older, like not in a bad way, but in like a wise kind of almost Galadriel like way in the English one.
Yes, I agree.
But it's fine. Still really enjoyed it. But anyway, so Frieren's up early. What's she doing? She's rummaging around looking for a special little rock. What kind of rock, you ask? A magic nullifying crystal. Bailey, do you remember how large the effective radius of the magic nullifying crystal is?
Well, it depends on the size.
They didn't say that. Okay. That does make sense.
It was implied.
Yeah.
But the one that they find, it's like 3 meters.
Yeah, it's a 3-meter radius. Good job, babies. They mess with Fern because she's over at her little fire trying to light the soup. And she has she's shooting out flames with her finger. But when Frieren pulls out the magic nullifying crystal, the flame goes out on her finger. She's like, what the frick? So they mess with her and, Frieren goes, Stark, stand back a little bit, and the fire comes back on. But it's a super valuable thing. The one Frieren picked up could buy a freaking mansion. Fern doesn't like it that much, though. She says, get rid of that dumb thing. We'd be in danger with it. And Frieren does do this cool little trick, though. She goes, but if you imbue it with mana. And so that is interesting, that you can still imbue it with mana, even though you can't do magic.
You can't do spells.
Yeah.
Probably.
So it's like, I guess mana is just the force that causes magic, but you can't use it to cause magic in that moment. But anyway, she imbues it with magic, and it's basically like a flashbang. It lights up super bright. It's a glow stick. And my thought was, they're walking away, and Frieren had put it back in the bush. And when they're walking away, they go around the lake, and it's just this huge bright light. And I thought, that might be too bright. It could attract people.
Yeah, that was my first thought. I was like, wow,
dangerous.
Everybody in the world who knows what that thing, like what could do that is going to come looking for this.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen this episode. Still something similar, though. So Frieren says the Northern Plateau is past some freaking volcanoes. That's where they got to go. That haven't erupted in a while, though, so don't worry about it. It's basically just a hot spring now. As they are walking through, they fall into a pit, and they start to lose their magic, because they're hovering there. And Fern goes, oh, no. And they start, and even Frieren goes, this might not be good. And then they sink, and then my next note, poor Stark, because they all land right on top of him. He lands first, and then Fern, who's like holding Frieren, lands right on top of Stark as well. And they're in a giant cave filled with crystals. Stark tries to cut them, but he's unable to because they are amongst the strongest minerals known to humanity. They're like, why don't people just come down here and like mine this? Frieren goes, it's out of reach of humans. They would never be able to get it. So Frieren smiles at Stark and says, we are counting on you because without magic, we're just ordinary girls down here. We're just girls.
Literally just a girl.
We're just girls. And she even kind of teases him. She's like, I haven't forgotten that you called me an old hag. And he's like, you're still thinking about that. But we get a little walking montage of them. There's a new song that plays, a new like background song. Kind of enjoyed that. But they set up camp eventually inside the cave. Stark and Fern are shocked that Frieren could even sleep there. And they're right to be shocked because a big old cave dragon shows up, and it's known as a venomous apex dragon. Bailey, I was thinking about this. Do you know the difference between venomous and poisonous?
Oh gosh, I used to. Isn't it where like venom comes from like something inside of a body and poison is like on the outside? That might be a difference, but I don't remember.
Well, this would have been a good thing for me to look up because I'm not entirely sure myself. I just thought of it as I was reading it, but I'm pretty sure that venomous means that thing can like inject you with its, like it can attack you, where it shoots it out of its body. But poisonous, it's within it, and like if you were to eat it, you'd die.
Like if you interact with it, you can get poisoned versus
venomous. It needs to interact with you.
So like poison is passive.
Yeah.
And venom is violent to get the alliteration.
Right. Yeah.
Alliteration points.
I like that. That's my English teacher wife.
Yeah. I speak English.
I don't, but they are. I'm going a little too fast here because I do like that Frieren has that security in Stark when that she's just sleeping there and resting. And, when Stark saves her, it's a really cool moment. The Apex Dragon goes to attack Frieren and he's super fast and grabs her and pulls her out of the way. And she kind of lazily opens her eyes. And she says, when they ask her, like, how could you just sleep like that? And she goes, I trust you with my life. I have since the day that we made you part of this group. And I love this. Stark says that he's a man. Like, how can you even trust me? I'm a man who runs away at times. And Frieren's reply, she says, why don't we just run away together then? Oh, I love it. And she makes a little flash grenade. She goes, everybody cover your eyes. And Stark grabs both of them and hauls it out of there.
Yeah.
Now, I thought I saw this on our first watch, but then we watched it again so I could take notes. He definitely drops his axe when he grabs Frieren, because that's the axe, the hand that's holding the axe. But then later when they're running, you see the axe on his back. So a little flaw. And we caught a cinema sins moment.
Yeah.
But it's fine. We can forgive
things like that, like just the logistics. It's like I can have a lot of mercy and grace for that because it's like, I'm writing my own book. It's like you have to be so meticulous. Otherwise, people will be like, actually.
What would have been cool? Because I was thinking, how could you redeem that? Because I also really like the animation of him dropping the axe because it shows how much more he cares about Frieren. It would have been cool if, he's dropping the axe. It's in slow motion as he drops it and grabs Frieren and runs away. But it would have been cool if, as he drops it, he grabs Frieren and he's starting to move away and she grabs his axe. That would have been cool to see. Let's just headcanon. That's what happened. So they haul it out of there. We also get a flashback to Himmel's party, and Himmel tells Eisen something similar, that he trusts him with his life. And Himmel says the same thing. If you feel like running away, let's run away together. And in that flashback, Himmel's party tries to fight a dragon and they get wrecked. So they roll out. And if you remember, we were watching it, I thought it was really funny when Himmel picks up Frieren in that moment, and she's like our baby. She's just like kind of accepted being picked up and carried out.
Yep. It's like, how many times has this happened before?
Yeah.
And they didn't even really explain necessarily why she had to be carried, but Aizen was also being carried, and the only thing that I could think of is that they're just not fast enough at running.
Aizen's got little legs. He's a dwarf. And he also got wrecked by that dragon. He had just been thrown against the wall. But when they're out of the cave, and I love this, you'll hear me mention this later in our favorite moments. As they're running away, Frieren smiles. She's being held over Stark's back, and she's looking at the dragon, and she just smiles.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're out of the cave, she's smiling again, and I love this. She just very casually, she goes, "That was pretty scary, huh?" And they start to walk away, and Stark goes, "I can't walk."
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of that part of the episode. So part 2, in the Great Sompht Forest. Stark is walking in a forest and decides he'll go fishing. Unfortunately, he walks up on the girls bathing in the river. Doesn't help his image with Fern because, if you remember from last season, she called him a perv a lot. I do like Frieren's and Fern's conversation. When Fern is cleaning her bracelet and her hairpin from Stark and Frieren, Frieren kind of says, "Wow, you really like these things and you value them." And she says that she values them because they were gifts. She's an orphan who didn't have anything. And it's nice to have stuff. It's nice to have that privilege to own things that she actually values now. Mm-hmm. Fern also lets slip that she spied on Frieren getting the hairpin. She doesn't necessarily say that, but she goes, "You put a lot of time and effort into finding it." And Frieren goes, "How would you know that?" And if you remember in that episode, I think it was episode 2 or 3 of season 1. She was
trailing her.
Yeah, when she was supposed to be shopping. But time starts to pass. Stark is worried that Fern is upset with him. And even Frieren goes, "Hey, Stark, are things awkward?" It's basically like, it's bad if even Frieren picks up on it.
Yep.
And Frieren kind of starts to drop the hints of, not even the hints, it's very explicit, saying like, "Do you not want to be here anymore? Are you uncomfortable? Do you want to get out?" But they walk into a literal crossroads. And we were watching it, and I go, that's a bit on the nose. But they decide to say at the end there, and who do they run into? Verbal and his party. And if you remember, Verbal's the cool silver-haired, kind of silvery blue-haired mage from the Northern Lands with the canine teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been traveling by boat, but just decided to take a break in this town before they continue further. And here we get like the conflict of the episode. Verbal extends his offer to Stark to get him to go to work in the Northern Lands. And he's like, "I don't need you for long, just 2 or 3 years, just till things get settled down." Mm-hmm. And he makes clear like he will do anything he can to protect the Northern Lands. We see Fern look a little nervous when he offers this. Stark rejects though, and he's like, "I'm already a part of this party." But Verbal, like I said, he's persistent, and he basically says, "Frieren, do you mind if I try to persuade him more?" She goes, "Go for it." And Fern doesn't like that. She's like, "Miss Frieren, it's like, oh, maybe she does care." Especially, like, it looks bad because Stark's over there having a good time. They're having cheers and all that stuff.
Dude, throwing it up.
Yeah. Later that night, Fern checks on Stark outside and asks if he's sure he wants to reject Verbal's offer, because Stark tells her, like, "I reject the offer." And I love this. Stark says, like, Frieren didn't force him to join the party. It was Fern who gave him the encouragement and the confidence to do it. Because that night, if you remember, she approached him and told him the story of the first time Frieren left her alone to fight that like super spider monstery demon thing. Anyway, he says that she gave him the confidence and she helped him along the way too. And he says that he's not going anywhere, so be nicer to him. And she offers him a little head pat. She goes, "Fine." And I think she even raises her arm. She goes, "Come over here. I will give you a head pat." And he freaks out. "What are you plotting?" And we get a scene. Oh, what did I do? Oh, one thing I wanted to note too, I have it over here. I love that Verbal is actually an adult.
Yeah.
It says that he basically drops the news that he's 30. And I was like, it's listeners, I'm pointing this out because it's such a common thing in anime for all characters to be teenagers.
Or like at most college age.
Yeah. And so I like that these are actual adults. Mm-hmm. It's nice because we're adults.
Yeah.
But anyway,
It's like watching Jujutsu Kaisen earlier, and it's like, these are teenagers. It's like, these guys are in high school.
So we get a scene of her cherishing the bracelet and also all her other knickknacks that she's been given. The necklace from Croft, the monk, as well as her hairpiece from Frieren. And anyway, it's the next day. They part ways with Verbal's party. That old Evan call score swells and they part ways. And that's the end of the episode. Yay, episode 1. So, a few quick things to note. I love that the name is Shall We Go Then? Because, it's just a
good
way to kick off the season. Yeah, shall we get started? Y'all ready to do this? So, I guess if you were to ask me, lesson of the episode, I guess the importance of, and it's a common trope in Frieren, but doing things together. If you're going to stand and fight, I'll stand with you. If you're going to run away, I'll run away with you. But the point of the journey is to journey with the friends that you're traveling with.
I think in my mind, because even though that is treated like a 2-part episode, they do kind of flow together, because the first one is kind of the first time that Stark has been truly needed by the girls. And then immediately it's followed by him being like, well, I'm going to stay with them, because not to be that person to say that, but men generally speaking like feeling needed. And
we do.
Yeah. Well, and that probably meant a lot to him. And it definitely doubled down the idea of who's going to need me more? These 2 girls or this group of guys for whom I would just be an additional pack of muscle.
It kind of gives me vibes of the episode of Avatar: The Last Airbender with Sokka getting his sword and learning to fight with the sword. In a small way, a little bit of the thing. And so I said this is lesson of the episode, but also not just the overall lesson, but little things that are thrown in there that are, I guess,
tidbits
for the audience to pick up on.
Proverbs.
Yeah, Proverbs. I like that. Frieren's Proverbs. So one I thought was really interesting was humans can't get these crystals. These are things that nullify magic. And maybe the lesson being there that try as we might, even if we disbelieve in magic and all this stuff, you can't get rid of it. There's something in this world that is wonderful, supernatural, and humans will never, no matter how much of a denier you are of these special things in life, they still exist and you can't fully excavate them.
I was thinking more along the lines of something that goes against human greed. It's the paradox of the most valuable thing that you could possibly find is completely inaccessible to you, as far as being able to rip it out and sell it or commodify it.
Yeah, that's cool. The other thing I thought was really interesting about this episode is that, especially in the first half, the beginning of this season, it's a story arc without magic. It's them, and we talked about this before the podcast, but to me, it almost came across as this show saying the magic of this show is not the magic. The thing that makes this show great, we could get rid of the magic, the fantasy elements, and this show would still be amazing because of how character driven it is and how strong our storylines are. Yeah, and how meaningful it is. So I really enjoyed that. And then the last thing I want to shout out, there is a YouTube channel that I enjoy a whole lot, especially as a Frieren fan, called Pei Talks Anime. I believe that's what it is. If that's wrong, I'll come in and correct it later. But Pei Talks Anime, and he does video essays on every single episode of Frieren. And something he pointed out in this episode, in the 2 story arcs, we kind of see everybody's
love language
mentioned. And so with Fern, it's gift giving. And that's made very clear of her saying that she values these gifts now. With Frieren, it's quality time because she's remembering the time she had with her heroes and then the time that she has with these people. And she even says, hey, if we're going to run away, let's do it together. And then Stark, words of affirmation. We need you. You're a part of the group. We love you. And I thought that was a really good catch. So thank you, Pei. All right. Now moving on to manga differences. So this covers chapters 61 and 62 of the manga. And there are a few slight differences, not that many, but a few. One is that there are no tiny fish. So that's like the bit of these 2 episodes, and actually a bit that keeps going throughout the season, I believe, because it's in episode 2. But Stark is unable to catch giant fish in the anime, but in the manga, like, that's not a problem. Like, I think he comes back with a regular sized fish, and I think he says, I sure hope to catch a big one someday, but there's no Fern making fun of him, and it's not a small fish that he catches. It's just a regular fish.
I kind of like that change in the anime, though, because it parallels and correlates really well with his, like, implied feeling of emasculation.
Yeah.
Whenever he interacts with Fern specifically. But, yeah.
They also don't praise Frieren for waking up early in the manga. In the anime, on the balcony, Stark makes it sound like Frieren and Fern dragged him along. There's a really subtle difference. And again, listeners, this is sometimes difficult because it's translated, so I don't know who's right. But the manga translation in this moment kind of makes it sound like it wasn't, so the connotation, let me try to say this right. In the anime, the connotation in which Stark says, you guys dragged me along, that's how it comes across. You dragged me. It's negative. But in the manga, it sounds more encouraging. Like, you guys were the ones that pushed me and guided me. Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting shift. Anyway, so those are all our manga differences. Moving on now to our favorite lines or moments of the episode. Tons of good favorite lines. But for me, the moment I want to shout out the most is when they are running away from the giant, like, venomous apex dragon. And 2 things happen. One, Frieren smiles. And that's noticeable because when they're running away from the dragon in the flashback, Frieren is stone cold. Like, she's just kind of staring at the dragon as Himmel's carrying her. But in this one, again, the whole point of the show is her learning to retroactively appreciate her first journey.
So we're constantly juxtaposing moments from the past with similar moments in the present.
Yeah. And so she smiles in that moment. And then the other one, Fern, I love this so much. She's terrified. And she even highlights how this is the weakest and scaredest she's ever felt because she doesn't have her magic. What she does in that moment is she grabs the bracelet that Stark gave her while he's carrying her. And it's like it's a visual way of saying in that moment, she is trusting wholly and completely in Stark. It's very sweet. It's very sweet. So that's my favorite moment. What about you, baby?
I really like when things first pop off. And for a second, Stark kind of is fighting back. Because in a lot of ways, it's kind of the first time we've seen him really fight since the demons that I forget the name of the guy demon or the girl demon. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I don't know her name either.
Yeah, but whatever the name of the girl demon is that he fought in the first season. But in that fight, he kind of won based off of a fluke. Because if it wasn't for how weak her swings were, like, he was kind of getting his butt handed to him. So really the only time we've ever seen him act boss was when we met him for the very first time.
And he killed a dragon.
Against the red dragon.
Yeah.
And so I really liked, and time has passed since then. They've been together for like over a year now, if not more. I don't know how many time skips we've had at this point. And so it's a cool scene to see how much Stark has grown. It was only for a split second, but seeing him do some sort of attack move, and I just like the competence that he has.
Yeah,
like
he's able to take charge, and their trust in him is not misplaced.
Yes.
So episode 30, Hero. Oh, actually, one more thing I wanted to point out as far as a manga change, because we didn't really get to say it, was that in the manga, when they fight the dragon in the flashback, the heroes party, it's just one panel. And all you see is them standing before the dragon. So everything the anime does of Aizen being smashed against the wall or Haiter healing Frieren, all that stuff, that is stuff that the anime came up with. Anyway, so let's then move on now to episode 30, Hero of the South. 29 years after the death of Himmel the Hero. In the Fable Village, episode opens up with some dude asking our party to polish a statue. Frieren asks, what's the reward? And the guy tells her a spell that scratches the itchy parts of the back. She's sold.
My question immediately was like, why does this random old guy have this spell?
I've been saving it for just this moment.
Yeah.
Fern and Stark think it's going to be a statue of Himmel, but nope. It's a fancy dude with a cool little mustache.
Mm-hmm. Very musketeer looking guy.
Yeah. I was trying to find the right word for it because I just kept thinking French, but that's better. Frieren tells them that Himmel wasn't the only hero. There were actually a few more, and that this statue was of the hero of the South, the one who was actually the strongest hero humanity ever had. Stark says that's a bit extreme, but Frieren says, nah, he actually was. Like, he deserved the title. She brings up the 7 sages of destruction, says that her party killed 2 of them. And these 7 sages were like the Demon King's highest generals, I think. We'll learn more about them as the season progresses. But her party just killed 2 of them.
Mm-hmm. And the guillotine was one of them.
She was one of them.
Yeah.
And the hero of the South killed 3 of them. So that's 6. That means that there's 1 left. Interesting. Maybe later in the season, listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I don't know if I've read the manga, and I don't know if the anime with just 10 episodes will get there, but we'll see. Anyway, Hero of the South took out 3 by himself. And we get I love this. We get a cool little puppet show about him. The village is like showing, as Frieren is telling them the story of the Hero of the South, we look over and it's like what happens in Game of Thrones sometimes, but there's a little puppet show going on, explaining or showing his lore. And something I told you that was kind of cool. And I heard this from Pei Talks Anime. I want to know where he got this info, but that the way the animators learned to edit or to create this was they actually created these puppets and had somebody marionette all of it. Mm-hmm. And then they animated that.
I'm noticing a lot of that in anime nowadays. Mm-hmm.
I just watched that in Jujutsu.
Yeah. The last episode of Jujutsu to come out, there was a scene where you could just tell that they had real human models that they had videoed so that they could animate based off of it and get the specific movements. It makes it so alive. It looks great.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about it. Like
really?
in that scene in Jujutsu, it's the one where it's episode 4 or 5. I forget which, but it's when Yuji's talking to the leader of the fight club. And
it's just like this single frame.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons that for one, this season of Jujutsu is already it's directed so different than the previous 2 seasons. So it's much of a departure. And I don't know, I'm going back and forth between thinking, wow, that's really cool versus let animation stay animation. Like, this is a different world. I don't need real people.
I mean,
but it's hypocritical because I love it.
Yeah. The one thing that Jujutsu inarguably has to offer is incredible animation.
That's true.
So, you're not going to win that argument.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing that is above reproach every time. So
we get a cool little puppet show about the Hero of the South. He made it all the way to the Northern Plateau, to the very tip of it before the demons' castle, and he was in the heart of their supply lines. And he died fighting Schlacht the omniscient, a dude who could see 1,000 years into the future. Now, I'm not sure if Schlacht is one of the 7 sages or if there are 7 sages and he's like the leader almost. I was unsure about that. But anyway, he fought all the 7 sages and Schlacht at once. He died, but he did take out Schlacht and 3 of the sages. Mm-hmm. And that battle saved many people in the region. His body was never found. And Frieren, it's really odd note because she goes, yeah, the town people think because the legend about him, it says his body was never found. And so they believe he's still fighting to this day. But also those demons ate people, so I think they just ate his body. She says it so casually.
Yeah.
She flashes back to when she met the Hero of the South, because he at one point tried to go to her to get her to join him on his quest, but she refused. And he tells her it's okay because he knew that she would reject him, and that's because he can see the future as well, not just Schlacht.
That fight
can see the future.
Was probably crazy to watch. 2 people who can see the future.
Yeah.
How does a fight like that even go down?
It was yeah. So I'm going to keep shouting out Pei Talks Anime because he talked about this in his episode on this. But a character who can see the future can kind of seem a little broken, and it's how will a story handle that? Mm-hmm. well, I guess one of the best ways you could is to have two characters who can see the future.
And make them fight.
Make them fight each other. Yeah.
And of course, they would destroy each other.
And they would destroy each other.
I hope that we see that fight one day. Like, there's so many creative things you can do with that.
Frieren leaves a lot to the imagination. So definitely does that a lot in the show. Another interesting thing that Pei mentioned was like, how do you view the futures that they see? You know, how do you make it not OP? And he said the way he chose to believe it was like they see possible futures based on what they do, rather than the absolute future. Because otherwise, both Schlock and the Hero of the South knew that they would both die in that battle. Not only did they know that, they would know the outcome of like the rest of history, and that the Demon King would die. So it's like, why would Schlock go into that battle knowing that? So it's more like potential outcomes. Just a plot hole thing that like, that's a way to cover it. Anyway, like I said, she's flashing back to when he met her and tried to get her to join his party. But it's really funny because he says he can see the future. He's like, I'll tell you my secret. I haven't told anybody else. I know you won't tell. I got a little secret for you. He says he can see the future, and she doesn't really react at all. He goes, what, do you not believe me? She goes, no, I just don't care. And I love this. He goes, he's basically like, fair, but try this on for size. And he mentions the 7 Sages of Destruction. And we see that little like Frieren that catches her attention. She stops and her eye looks at him, and she has like this is a little bit of a side note, but it flashes to her standing before a giant shadowy figure. And you and I were kind of guessing that could be one of the mages that she lost to, because she said in season 1 that she's lost to like 2 or 3 demons in her past, and that could have been one of them. But anyway, he says in 1 year, the 7 sages will kill him in the northern lands. And he says, I will die without achieving my goal. And her presence wouldn't even change that. But soon, another hero will ask her to join him, and she will join that hero, and they will defeat the Demon King together. She doesn't believe it, but he says, you'll understand once you meet him. And my note here is that the music is musicking, because it gets that flashback of her traveling with Himmel, the Hero of the South looking cool, all this stuff. Before he leaves, he asks her to tell Himmel something, and we actually get to see Himmel's reaction to her saying this to him when they're like in that kind of like almost Weathertop looking area. But we see Himmel's reaction, and his reaction, I think it was very fitting of him like kind of smiling at first, because what I picture is he is excited that the Hero of the South mentioned him. He's looking excited, and then you see him get real like kind of somber and like, oh, and he like the gravity of what the Hero of the South said. Then we're told what the Hero of the South said. And he says, like that he will die in his attempts to do this, and history may forget him, but he will clear a path for him, even if his accomplishments are forgotten. And I love Himmel's look in that scene, the way it's animated. I was a little thrown off. I was a little thrown off by Stark wearing the demon outfit as he's running through the village, and I was like, that guy was a monster. Why are you playing in costume as that demon? But he's playing with the kids like he always does. And I love this line. Frieren says, some future sight you had, the people here haven't forgotten you. Oh, and I love that because, he was saying they would forget my stuff. But she's like, no, they haven't. So anyway, part 2 of the episode, it's 29 years after the death of Himmel the Hero in Graf Doc's domain. They get to a big old city, and normally, like when they get to a big city, they try to chill out for a bit. There's even a magic shop, and Stark's like, yo, you want to go to the magic shop? Frieren goes, don't care. We got to keep moving. And she like uncharacteristically, she says, time is finite and they need to roll. We see them shopping, and Frieren is loading up her little briefcase, and they are just about to get out of town when they are stopped by a butler-looking dude inviting them to dinner with the Lord of the Land. At first, Frieren refuses, but then she's like, fine. The Graf and others try to exchange pleasantries, but Frieren just says, what do you want? Again, this guy goes, fair. Love that you're like that. Okay, here's the deal. He says, we lost our family sword, and we need you to get it back. Lost it again because Himmel's party went and got it the last time this happened. Apparently, demons like that sword a lot. Frieren says, fine, but you got to give me a Grimmy, all right? I want a Grimmy as a reward, and I'll do it. Fern says she's surprised Frieren is helping here, but Frieren says she's doing it because Himmel took it back once, and to let it be stolen again would be to let it go to waste, like what Himmel did go to waste. And besides, Himmel wouldn't abandon someone in need. So they set out the next day. We get another montage, two interesting scenes in the montage. We see Stark catching little fishies and Frieren stomping on a snake.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime I see a character stomp on a snake, I always get that biblical imagery of crushing the serpent's head.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, eventually...
I will say, though, I did notice that the way that was animated, the snake goes in the divot of her boot between the heel and the toe.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, the only part of it that wouldn't trap the snake, it's just kind of thoughtless for, animation, because it's like if I were to wear heels.
Oh, yeah, you would not, with the flat of your foot, you would do the heel part.
Right.
The arch of your foot.
Yeah, so that's kind of a funny little thing, but...
Yeah. Eventually, their journey leads them to a destroyed village where only Frieren senses the one who's there. Some lady claiming to be a priest. She says she was mourning the death of the villagers, and she asked them if they would offer a prayer to the dead. And do you remember what Frieren does?
No.
That's all right. She blasts the ground.
Oh, I thought that it was something before that, because I remember her doing that, obviously.
Yeah. And they're like, what the frick are you doing? And she goes, no corpses in them grounds. I bet you ate everybody because you're a demon.
Mm-hmm.
And if we remember in part 1 of the episode, they reminded us demons do that. My note here is there's some interesting dialogue because, she says she ate the humans to survive. And Frieren says, even though you can eat other things to survive. And the demon says, why would that be any reason not to eat humans?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Frieren goes, there's no reasoning with this one. She would have said that anyway.
Yeah, well, the first thing that the demon said struck me as similar to when, in season 1, when they were kind of explaining the lore of demons and how they operate. It's the same kind of feeling of what's a father? I have no idea. Of just her saying something that she learned might earn pity.
Yeah,
from humans.
And Frieren explains that later. Exactly.
Yeah, and it gave me the same vibe as that.
Mm-hmm.
Of I'm just doing it because I have to,
We then get a sick fight. I love the animation of the explosions, the way that it's almost like a watercolor painting. I love that. So the explosions, as I said, sick art. I love when Stark saves Fern because the demon goes to strike her with the sword because she's the one who has the sword. But she goes to strike Fern with her sword and she's breaking through Fern's magic and is about to get her. And then Stark shows up and saves her.
Mm-hmm.
And, she's like, thanks. And he goes, that's what a frontliner's for. I think in the English dub, when it comes out, I'll probably watch it then. They'll say the warrior, not frontliner. That's something I noticed. They haven't said warrior yet. They say frontliner every time.
It must be a different word.
Yeah. But Stark saves Fern. All three fight, and Frieren wastes her from the sky. She's up in the air. It's like whenever they fought, the guy that invented Zoltrak. I forget his name.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, we get a Himmel flashback because, that of when they got the sword for the first time. And he says, this was a difficult job, but that's okay because difficult jobs, accomplishing them can help a lot of people. Back in the present, Frieren congratulates Stark and Fern, and then they make a monument for those who have fallen. Fern asks Frieren why she got so violent so quickly, and Frieren says she figured that the praying thing was a trick. So like you were alluding to earlier, that people close their eyes when they tend to pray, or typically when they pray, and the demon must have learned that. And again, building on that deceit thing from season 1. So she was like, I didn't want to give that demon a chance to kill you guys. And then, now that the demon's gone, they all pray. And Frieren's the one who leads the charge in the prayer, which is very different from season 1.
Yeah, that was going to be what I was going to say was my favorite part.
The sword is returned, and they are thanked, and with that, they head on out. And Frieren, at this point now, she wants to linger now that her little favor's been done, and she asks to be taken to the market. Our trio wonders if the sword is worth all the trouble it brings to everyone. It brings if everyone goes after it. All these demons keep trying to get it. But Frieren says it'd be worse to just let it go, to let it fall into demons' hands. They would just, anytime a demon took it, they would go on a rampage and demolish village after village. And then it's really cool when they point out how, like the whole town now has made it a priority to protect the sword, not just the village, not just the family, but the whole town. Even their like the town's flag is the sword. And we are told what Frieren's grimoire spell is. Do you remember what it is?
Nope.
A spell to turn red apples green.
Oh.
Makes me think of that in Apothecary Diaries.
Yeah, the wine.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the end of the episode. Yay! So some of the manga differences, let's talk about it. First, Frieren doesn't tell Frieren doesn't tell the hero of the South that she doesn't care that he can see the future. I thought that was it. Like there's a little bit less dialogue there. And that's about it for chapter 63. But in chapter 64, the grandpa in the flashback, the baby Kuen listeners, in the flashback, the grandpa of the like sword family, he told Frieren's party that he would kill them, but in the manga he just said he would imprison them if they didn't get the sword back. The other difference is when they get to the town, Frieren in the anime, Fern says like nobody's here, and Frieren kind of says something like no, not nobody. But in the in the manga, I do like the dialogue better, at least the translation. She goes, no, not a soul, meaning like demons don't have souls. So I thought that was cool. And then Frieren does not explain the prayer thing, that like that's why she got violent so quickly, and that demons do that demon probably did it to deceive. So
there was also a difference in translation that I think you really cared about, which in the manga with the whole hero of the South thing, the way that the manga was translated had him say, instead of clearing a path, making a way, right?
Well, I looked at that, and the manga, I think there's just different translations, and I read the Shonen Jump or the Viz manga translation recently, and it said the same thing as the anime. But I'm glad you brought that up. It's just like, I think it is, it just depends on the translation you read.
Yeah.
But let's talk about that. Yeah, that is an important thing that I want to discuss as far as lesson of the episode.
Okay.
So we're in this section now, lesson of the episode, or at least parables. Let's do that. Parables. This was probably my top 3 favorite things I've ever read in any manga. And I was so excited whenever we finished episode 1 and they said that this was going to be episode 2 in the preview. The hero of the South, it's John the Baptist. Like, it's such an allusion to John the Baptist. Listeners, we are a Christian couple. I'm a pastor. We love Jesus. You don't need to listen to this show. We hope you do, though. But it's, whether you believe in Christianity or not, like, it's inescapable that how much Christianity has impact literature and culture.
Yeah.
And this whole, like, it could be allusion to other things, but it certainly is mimicking as well the character of John the Baptist in the Bible. And so if you don't know, John the Baptist in the Gospels in the New Testament is the cousin of Jesus. And the lore, to say it quickly, is that it was prophesied that before Jesus, who in the Bible, Savior of the world, before he comes onto the scene, it was prophesied that somebody would show up to prepare the way for him. And that was John the Baptist. John the Baptist in the gospel stories says that the Messiah is coming, the one who will take away the sins of the world, and that he will prepare a way for that Messiah. The voice, the voice of one crying in the wilderness, make straight the paths of the Lord. And
he dies before he actually sees that happen.
Yeah. And so this was so powerful to me. And again, I'm not trying to be preachy here. I'm just saying my personal experience watching this episode and reading this in the manga. I've always been so fascinated with the character of John the Baptist. This will sound like a weird connection, but I've told you this before. I love the show Naruto. And in Naruto, it was always so cool that anytime people met Naruto, they would say, I was one way before I met Naruto, and now I'm this way.
There are little sounds on the thing.
And we're back. We had the baby, aforementioned daughter of ours.
She needed a new diaper and she needed a full tummy.
Yeah, so we had to take care of her. But we're back, and so we were just talking about John the Baptist and his correlations with the hero of the South. And so one of the things I was saying was that I love the character of Naruto and how people would say, I was one way before I met Naruto, and I'm another way since I've met him. I remember watching that and always thinking, wow, I wish that could be me. I want to be that kind of person. Well, years have gone by and I realized I'm not that person. I'm not the person who will change your life dramatically. But what I think is really cool, speaking as a Christian with our beliefs, is I can be a John the Baptist figure, though. Somebody who points towards the one who can change your life. And so that's what I love about the hero of the South figure, of him saying, like, no matter what it takes, even if it costs me my life, I will, knowing that it will cost him his life, I will prepare a way for the hero who will eventually save the world. I will give my life in trying to do that. And so that was just as a Christian, that was a very powerful image to me. I almost even cried when I was reading it in like a manga, a comic book, really. And goosebumps. We watched it twice and I got goosebumps both times. So very powerful figure to me. I love that so much. I think too, another cool allusion says the strongest hero humanity ever had. And it's said of John the Baptist that he was the greatest born among humans. So anyway, that's my little bit as far as Proverbs from that episode. Loved it. Did you have anything you wanted to mention there as far as like lessons or Proverbs?
No, I mean, that was kind of the main thing that comes to mind for me.
Okay, so moving on then to our favorite lines or moments of this episode. Obviously, everything to do with the hero of the South. My absolute favorite. I loved him saying, Frieren reflecting on him saying, like, even if history forgets me, and her saying that line of some future sight you had, the people here remember you. And then I also love, again, I will prepare a way. Love it. That's my favorite. What about you?
I really like, you already touched on this, but the expression that Himmel makes when Frieren tells him about that. Because again, it's like seeing what Himmel is like 9 times out of 10, it's kind of surprising seeing him react that way because he's stoic so rarely. Most of the time it's like he's either being serious but in like a happy-go-lucky sort of way, or being frivolous and silly in his goofy way.
Like playing the part of the hero.
Right, as opposed to being a mature man who can like comprehend the weight of something that somebody else did for him. And it's also probably something that was very humbling to him, and like put the pressure on of like, oh wow, like I have to be the one to carry the baton, like after someone as crazy as that.
It's like I wonder what went through his head. Was it
like he wasn't celebrating that? It wasn't.
In my head, I was thinking, is it either comforting that, oh wow, my job's easier, or is it pressure? Oh, he gave his life. Now I have to do this.
I think the look that he gave is definitely more pressure.
Yeah, I think even more than that, it's kind of sorrow. Sorrow that I wasn't a good enough hero. That you didn't have to do. Like, if I was better, maybe he wouldn't have had to give his life for that. That's the kind of vibe. That's the kind of thing I would expect from Himmel. But and then the other thing I really liked was Frieren blasting the graves in the next part of that episode.
Yes.
But that's really all we got for episode 2. And that's all we got for this episode of the podcast, covering episodes 1 and 2 of season 2 of Frieren. So listeners, thank you so much for listening. Again, a little late on this episode, but we're slowly getting back into the swing of things with our baby now.
And please forgive any lack of quality that comes from being sleep deprived.
Yes, we are very sleep deprived.
Hopefully it'll get better as the episodes progress.
Yeah. Eventually we will also do video versions of this. Right now, if we want to do this for fun.
Everything's a mess right now.
And it would not be fun to
including our faces.
To have to do that right now. But thank you so much. If you enjoy anime and fantasy, and you know somebody that also enjoys anime and fantasy, please share this with them. Get the news of this podcast out to people, and that'll be a really cool encouragement for us to keep doing stuff like this. Let us know what else you would want us to cover. I was talking with Bailey the other day saying how we could cover more anime. We could also do mythology, and fairy tales and things like that, because we love all sorts of stories. And heck, even do like movies or something. I might even do like, I know we talked about Lord of the Rings, but that would be a longer thing. But we could also do something like Pirates of the Caribbean and things like that. So anyway, let me know. We love you guys. Thank you for listening. And we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Maybe.